Hi there, this is Tata, and welcome to a simulcast of It's Wrestling Time and the WrestleManiacs podcast over on A Plus Hero Report. Joining me is my co-host from the WrestleManiacs podcast, Josh.
Yeah, hey guys, everybody. Yeah, the Mega Powers have united for the first time ever. I almost want to do the handshake with you, Dr. Left, from this side.
It is Monday, November 27, 2023, and tonight Josh and I will be talking about Monday Night Raw. I just kicked things off talking about the CM Punk promo. CM Punk made his surprising, long-awaited return to the WWE at Survivor Series, which you and I reviewed for the WrestleManiacs podcast. And tonight was probably one of the most anticipated Raws of all time, because we were wondering, what is CM Punk gonna say? Is he gonna bury AEW? Is he gonna trash Tony Khan? What? I mean, he was live with the microphone. And the funny thing is, he even said, "It looks like hell froze over," meaning he's standing in the WWE ring with a mic.
Yep.
So WWE was smart to have Randy open and close with CM Punk, because I feel like if CM Punk would have opened, everybody would have like, okay, we heard we need to say, let's change the channel. You know.
I agree. I mean, again, sometimes there's a point to catch the lightning in the bottle, but again, I think you're right, because everybody, I mean, even myself, I was like, okay, is he coming? Is he coming? Is he coming? But they made me stay to the end. And again, I was waiting for it. I hate to say, I mean, I would have still watched the show, but doing the Punk thing, I'd be like, okay, now I can kind of just, listen later on. So no, you're right. I mean, it was the right choice to make everybody wait.
Exactly. All right. So a couple of things that he talked about. He mentioned his wife, AJ Lee, and he says that she's fabulous and sends her regards. So maybe now that he's back, maybe we might get AJ Lee in the Women's Royal Rumble.
Wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, look, we have Mickie James, the Impact Women's Champion, in the Royal Rumble, so why not AJ Lee?
Yeah, that would be really interesting to see. He says that he felt like his old self again. And he's talking about how the continents, the countries, and people watching from home never stop chanting his name. I like the fact that he mentions the voices, because if you remember, that was one of his nicknames, the voice of the voiceless. He talks about Paul Heyman without actually saying Paul Heyman. He says a wise man once told him that in order to make the best, that he has to leave and then come back. I like the fact that he mentioned the brass ring, which was like, if you remember, like in his pipe bomb, he talked about Vince McMahon's imaginary brass ring.
Yep.
And as he was ending his promo, he says he's not here to make friends, he's here to make money. And as the feed was going off, he was like doing the victory lap that Matt Jackson did after the news came out that CM Punk was fired. I don't know about you, but
I didn't catch that.
I don't know about you, but I personally, I didn't like this promo. I feel like it was a nice tamed promo. I know it's not the promo that everybody was expecting, but what do you want the guy to say? You want him to go out there on his first night and bash AEW and Tony Khan. I do think that it was a little bit of mixture of his Rampage promo when he came back, his Collision promo when he came back after being suspended, and his pipe bomb, especially mentioning that he's the best in the world, not only in the ring on commentary, but on the microphone too. So I got a little flashbacks to that pipe bomb. But what were your overall thoughts on the CM Punk promo?
I don't want to say disappointed, because that's not necessarily true. I expected a little more cuteness, I guess is the best way than being cute. Maybe you cry me a river, guys, I'm back. Maybe something to that thing. But then again, I think there's probably a potential lawsuit somewhere, so he probably doesn't want to bring that attention. I think you said it best, tame. It was very tame, very just almost like trying to bring back, I was this guy 10 years ago, I've changed. Again, saying he's home, I thought was interesting. I think the whole I'm here to make money versus not friends. I mean, I think it kind of contradicted the message of I'm home. But I mean, again, as you said, what can he really say besides everybody wanting to see him throw the bag in the trash. I kind of joked on Twitter today and Facebook saying, hey, what if he just comes out with a burlap sack, doesn't show what's in it, but it's the same bag he had in AEW and just dumps it in the trash, saying my past is behind me. Now let's get with it. But again, I don't know. I mean, again, I can't say it made me intrigued to see what was going to happen next week. But at the same time, I know myself well enough that he's going to slow burn this thing and make it tune in because we're not going to get the world title match with Seth Rollins to begin with. We're going to have a slow burn, I think. So it was serviceable. I mean, again, I don't think it was anything to write home about, but not all Punk promos are, and they can't be. I mean, again, 10 years is a long time. Look at the return of Bret Hart. I mean, his initial promo from Raw in 2010 was okay. They had him and Sean hug, and then it wasn't until the end that you had the whole Vince McMahon reveal thing. So I'll give it a chance.
Says Io says, I think he had like 5 minutes airtime, right? Like he had like literally like 5 minutes. I was like, okay. Because prior to that, it was Dominik versus Randy Orton. And I was like, this is either going to be a short match or Punk is going to have a short promo. Yeah. And, it was definitely a short promo. There's a voice saying, first time I watched Monday Night Raw in 12 years. Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people's first time watching Raw in like forever. Bret Michaels, you mean?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Right.
So the inside joke to that, I don't know if you watched my last review, but I accidentally called Bret Hart Bret Michaels, and now
they were gonna live it down. Hey, look,
yeah. It's like the time I called Joaquin Phoenix. Okay, one time, and people don't let me live it down.
Right.
But
No,
oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I did think it was interesting that he did mention that he's home because so he didn't feel home in AEW. I thought that was pretty interesting.
I think his promo. Excuse me. I think his promo mentioning that he felt love backstage. I think that definitely was a shot at AEW. Definitely was talking about. I mean, he did mention the backstage, saying that there was love, and I thought the kiss on the lips thing was a little weird line. But again, it's Punk. Who knows? I mean, he could have maybe said something cutesy about it, but I definitely think he basically was telling everybody that this is where you need to be.
Yeah.
Whereas his other promo, I think it was the MJF, somebody quoted saying, you can go back there and do the 2-for-1 premium live event specials, but I'm still going to be here, and this A-kicking is going to be here for you. So I think it was his kind of way of reversing it, saying, this is where I belong. This is where I should have been the entire time. I only wish, and I mean, this is just me, but I only wish he would have said, I've changed. He would have said, I'm sorry. I mean, not because of that, but I think it would have made a long way, not to anybody in AEW, but just to say, I'm sorry that the 10 years I've been gone, I could have hashed this out 10 years ago and been back a lot sooner. But it's Punk, so he's not going to really apologize either.
Yeah. It says Bret and Joaquin for Tag Champions 2024. Bret versus Joaquin, WrestleMania 41, book it. Short Punk segment, but he was being upfront about saying he's not here to make friends, he's here to make money. That's true. At least he was being honest about that,
Good point.
So more power to him for being honest. But overall, like I said, I didn't think it was a bad promo. It was a rather tame promo, but, it's better than nothing, honestly. Yeah. And they weren't going to give us him and Seth and Rollins confrontation right away. They're going to hold off on that.
But, thinking about it now, before we move on, I think the report said that pretty much nobody knew he was showing up at Survivor Series, and that not even the writers knew, and they had all day, 2 days to rewrite it, and maybe they could have done better. But I think if they probably don't even know what program he's going to go for, they may have an idea, but they may still need to find a way to bridge the gap. I mean, I thought, honestly, I kind of would have liked the idea of Punk interrupting Drew McIntyre and saying, hey, buddy, get to the back of the line. I'm back here. Now then Drew and CM Punk. That gives them both something to do while Rollins faces Jey Uso.
True. But like I said, I feel like they're going to hold off on a couple things. There's only 3 Raws left in the year. So they're not going to do a lot. I also said, it's like when Stone Cold came back after walking on 2002. And on screen, they brushed it off like it was nothing, right?
Yep, that's true.
Yeah.
A year later, he came back, and he's exactly right. It was like nothing happened.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Monday Night Raw kicked off with a Randy Orton promo. This was Randy Orton's first appearance on Raw in over, a year, I think?
I'm just going to say it. I mean, and I know it's weird for me to say, But is Randy Orton a little thicker than he was when he was 2 years ago? Because he was so damn skinny. And now I remember my wife was thinking he got a little, not chunky by any stretch, but he just is thicker. He's back to that old, I dare say, Orton of '06 big.
Yeah, he bulked up. Like Randy Orton bulked up. So, Randy Orton does the whole typical shtick, the same old shtick that they do when they open the show, welcomes everybody to Monday Night Raw.
Yep.
His return since February last year when he faced Rollins, yes.
Yes.
And one of the things I liked about this is that Rhea Ripley came out and, she welcomed him back. I was kind of like nervous for her because, Randy Orton isn't afraid to hit an RKO on a woman. Just ask Nia Jax, Stacy Keibler.
Yep.
So
And the
I was
crowd
kind
wanted
of,
it.
yeah, the crowd wanted it. They were chanting for it.
Yep.
She talks. One of the things I like is that she mentions that Randy Orton was upstage. He kind of was, and it's not something that everyone's talking about because the one thing that everybody was talking about at Survivor Series was CM Punk, not Randy Orton.
Right. Well, I liked the line of the night, "Daddy's Home." I thought that was great.
Oh yeah, Daddy's Home.
That made I think that entire promo perfect. And the "Who's Your Daddy" chant after that. I mean, I was in a way surprised. Not that I was surprised the Judgment Day attacked him, but I was surprised it was Dominik and JD and not Priest and Finn Balor. But again, the idea is they had that match later. I don't know. I guess I just did not expect it to be Dom and JD. I expected the whole Judgment Day.
And like always, the same shtick. They use the opening segment to set up the main event, technically. So in the main event, it's going to be Randy Orton versus Dominik Mysterio. So we get the tag team Turmoil contender match. This was actually pretty fun. I actually really enjoyed this. DIY versus Kira Tozawa and Otis was pretty good. I like that. No surprise, DIY won right there. I don't know why Indus Sher was a part of this, but I feel like DIY versus Indus Sher was kind of the weakest match of this bunch. Really happy DIY won there. I really enjoyed DIY versus the Creed brothers. I mean, the Creed brothers are fantastic. I wish I would have seen more of them in NXT.
Oh, they were.
Well, I mean, no, let me rephrase that. I wish I would watch NXT more so I could see more of the Creed brothers. I don't watch NXT, so.
Well, there's a feud that Indus Sher had with the Creed brothers before they left. So I was surprised. I was glad DIY won, but I was kind of like, okay, Indus Sher, and if the Creeds are back, and again, and Michael, right there, you're right that Raw was commercial free for the first hour, so that helped to kind of not break up the tag team. It was a really great move. It was a great move to have that during that hour, and I think it ended like right at maybe 4 minutes before the hour was over. So I think it's funny. My wife actually mentioned at like 7:57 they went to a real commercial. She's like, "Wait a minute, it's supposed to be a whole hour," but my wife just notices things like that, so I thought that was funny. They gave us almost an hour worth of commercial free.
So, and then we've got the Creed brothers versus the New Day, which I actually really liked. I thought that was a fun match. And I would not mind if we see the Creed brothers versus the New Day part 2 again. But one of the things, if I have to complain about something, is the fact that what's going on with DIY? Like, since they came back, it seems like they're not really doing much here. I thought they were setting up a feud with them versus Imperium, but that really doesn't seem to be going anywhere.
Yeah, DIY is it. Again, they're kind of lost in the shuffle. I mean, I dare say throw them on SmackDown. I really thought they were going to be part of the Judgment Day thing. I mean, I thought with War Games, I really, truly, honestly, I get that we had Cody and Jay. I get that we had that. But, I mean, Ciampa and Gargano were known for their War Games involvement in NXT. They're the ones that kind of were in the – and that's not wrong. I think they were almost in the inaugural one. So I was surprised that they weren't feuding with the Judgment Day for the tag team titles. So it is kind of weird they're lost in the shuffle right now.
Yeah, it is. Michael 10159 says DIY is dead. It says we did not need this tag team turmoil. It's a case of today having nothing else to book on the show, so their way out is to do a turmoil or gauntlet. Okay. And then the Creed brothers eventually face Imperium, and they're victorious. Now, I like the Creed brothers. I don't know if they'll win, though. I don't know if they'll beat Judgment Day. I think it would be a surprise if they actually do. But this is why I advocate for them to finally split the tag titles.
Yes.
Because if the Creed brothers beat Judgment Day, they're gonna be undisputed tag team champions. And I feel like it gives more tag teams opportunities to chase those tag titles, you know? Creeds
And
will
plus,
lose. It seems like they will lose, but I honestly think that if they win, it adds more to Judgment Day's storyline. I mean, if after this, what followed was a Judgment Day segment where Finn Balor was like, "You can't take them lightly," and Damian Priest was like not happy over the fact that he thought that Judgment Day was his son, that he was embarrassed and that they let him down. You know?
here's what I'm surprised by. I'm surprised that Gunther, I still want to call him Walter, that Gunther is not telling them to go for the team titles. You need to win. You don't have a choice. You have to win this, or we're going to have problems. Because that seems like something he would want, right? You would think that he would be able to do that, and then they could tease him running into Damian Priest for like the Judgment Day or something like that. You know, I'm. It's hard to book because again, there's a lot of good talent there. Like Imperium is good, DIY is good, the Creeds are really good. Do I think the Creeds are ready for the tag team titles? No,
Yeah,
I don't.
no, they're not ready yet.
They're still young. They're still plucky. They're getting there. I honestly was surprised. I really thought this match was going to lead to DIY winning, which would then go to them winning the tag team titles at that point, because it would make sense for Ciampa and Gargano to win. Then you could start the whole Judgment Day feud and, internal. But I was surprised the Creeds won because, again, they're just going to lose.
Yeah. Yeah, they probably are. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if they do.
It's like the Street Profits on SmackDown. Like, what was the point of that match? I never felt that the Judgment Day was ever in any danger. And why was Bobby Lashley in the backstage if he wanted them to
That's
win?
that's what I'm telling you. Like they need to split up the tag titles. I said this before and I'll keep saying it. Roman Reigns got a new belt. When Asuka was champion, she got a new belt. Rhea Ripley got a new belt. Hell, Seth freaking Rollins got a new belt. Why didn't we get new tag titles?
Right. No, I agree. I agree totally. And they're all going to have the W symbol in the middle. Maybe they're trying to figure out if copper or silver looks better. Who knows?
All right, we get a Cody Rhodes promo. Basically, he thanks his teammates, Sammy, Jay, Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, and we finally find out who Nakamura was targeting. Turns out he was targeting Cody Rhodes. Not someone that I expected. I was not expecting Cody Rhodes for this. What about you? Were you expecting it to be Cody Rhodes?
No, but I loved it. I mean, I say that with a caveat. If they do it right, like they should launch Nakamura even better. And again, the callback to Muda and the Mist. I've always loved that because again, we talked about this at our predictions way back when in review. When Muda was there, when he's fighting Rollins, I would have loved for Muda to spit the Mist in the face or Nakamura to do it. I mean, it's kind of random that he's all of a sudden doing it. I'll be honest with you. I really, had I guessed and took a prediction, I would have guessed he was talking about Randy Orton because I would love to see an Orton versus Nakamura match because I think that would be perfect for them too. Rhodes was a little interesting only because we know Rhodes is going to finish the story. I don't think Nakamura is going to come out looking better in this. He's going to lose a lot.
I think he's going to lose this feud too. I mean, he'd be lucky if he gets one victory over Cody Rhodes, but he's definitely losing, especially after Cody Rhodes announced that he was entering the Royal Rumble.
Yep. If Nakamura wins, it's going to be one of those, well, Cody had a broken arm or Cody had a broken leg or Cody had, died 4 times and he just couldn't come back for that. I mean, there's going to be some sort of something that's not going to legitimize Nakamura. I love his character and I hate that they're giving it this sort of like really badass promos, but they're not giving him the wins like he should get.
Exactly. Okay, so Io says Nakamura did more on Raw than he did on SmackDown. That's true. He really didn't do much on SmackDown, although he did win the IC title, so that counted for something. But I get where he's going with that. Like, he's doing much more on Raw than he ever did on SmackDown. So he knew Cody was going to be the first to announce he's going to be the... Yeah.
Finished the
Will
story.
he win it? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. He thought about Nakamura was talking about Punk at first, but it was Cody. Yeah, I kind of thought that he was talking about Punk. Nakamura will lose once again. He's on a losing streak. Yeah, he's definitely losing. I don't think he's winning this feud.
Poor Nakamura.
Yeah.
So bad for him because his promos in Japanese are it just adds such a layer that I don't want to say didn't anticipate because I knew he was good, but just the way he delivers him in that sort of like when he does his eye, I can't do it necessarily. When he does his eye a certain way or does his teeth a certain I don't know. I mean, I'm loving the promos. I want him to win. I want him to be champion again.
He will someday.
Yeah, hopefully
Someday. We get Bronson Reed versus Ivar. As Big E would say, this was big, meaty men slapping meat.
Yeah.
This match ended in a double countout, but it was pretty good. I would not mind seeing Bronson Reed versus Ivar again. Like Ivar is one hell of a talent. He's been amazing since he's been on the singles run.
Just I was telling my wife the other day, because again, she's still fairly new to the business and just watching since like WrestleMania of last year. Just the presentation that they have for both characters. Again, Bronson Reed, say his character is a warrior. I mean, again, he doesn't really have the smoke and the mirrors like Ivar does, but it gets me hyped every time I hear those horns. Every time you see that Valhalla, whatever, and she rises. I mean, it really gives this sort of incredible kind of. I almost want to say it's a throwback to the 80s characters, right? Because you would always watch it for the entrances, even if the matches weren't great. But the difference is this dude has it. I mean, he moves like a cruiserweight. I still can't believe that. And the fact that he took the Death Valley driver at the end after the counter, that was sick looking. I was really concerned because I thought that was pretty nasty looking. I hope he didn't get hurt on that one.
Yeah, hopefully he's okay. Let's see. Smack 101 says, we have the meats.
Oh my
His
God,
promos in Japanese are good. It's better than him making him talk English. That's true. Sponsored by Arby's. Okay. Match was awful. They are moving in slow motion. Then after the double count out, they were already out of breath. Now I disagree. I actually really did enjoy Ivar versus Bronson Reed.
if anything, if I place the blame on the speed, I'm sorry, I gotta say it's Bronson. I think Bronson is the smaller guy, but he does not have the stamina of Ivar. Ivar can flip, he can do kicks. Bronson can. I'm trying to think how to say this diplomatically. There are some wrestlers that are bigger, that it gives them an advantage being bigger. And I kind of feel like, okay, they're big for a reason. And there are some wrestlers that are big, like it's kind of a detriment to them and it doesn't make them look flattering in any way. And I think Bronson Reed kind of falls into that category. Not because of anything he's done, but because he just doesn't have the. I don't know what's missing with Reed. Something's missing with Reed where Ivar has it, and he says nothing.
I disagree. I think I saw Bronson Reed when he did a little run in Impact, and his rivalry with PCO was actually a really great rivalry. And the matches that he had with PCO were fantastic.
Okay, I'll have to go watch him. Admittedly,
You
I did not
definitely
see
should.
Impact.
You gotta stop sleeping on Impact Wrestling.
He may be held back. I mean, again, I know he is running Japan as Jonah was apparently a big thing too, is my understanding. So I just think that while they had a great clash tonight, it seemed as though Reed was the one that slowed the match down. Because if you watch Ivar with Kofi, I mean, they're running 100 miles an hour, and Kofi and Ivar's able to keep up easily. So again, it could just be an off night for both of them. Who knows?
Just watch Jonah versus PCO. I think you'll like that from Impact Wrestling.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. So then we had Nia Jax versus Zoey Starks. This match really didn't do much for me. I was not a huge fan of this match. Nia Jax won. I mean, you're trying to build Zoey Starks, but yet you have her lose in this match.
Poor Zoey Starks. I like her. I do. I mean, my wife always jokingly says that's your woman there because I do like her. I like her character. I liked her in NXT. She was this sort of. Shayna Baszler, by the way, is who I've been thinking about in our last predictions. I could, for the life of me, not remember her name yesterday when we were doing the review for Survivor Series. But I like that them two are working together. I like that Zoey Stark is tough. She's like, I'm going to kick your butt. And even if she doesn't, I don't understand the Nia Jax build. I understand that maybe we're getting to maybe Nia Jax versus Rhea at the Royal Rumble because I hope they wouldn't save that for Mania. Surely nobody wants to see that. At least in my opinion, I don't. But poor Zoey Starks. I mean, I think once she joined Trish, I think she lost a lot of momentum that she had, to be honest with you, because she became a lackey at that point, not her own character.
Says for another Zoey Stark squash. She has potential, but they see nothing in her. It's clear Nia is next in line. Just get over. I agree. Just get over with. Get it over at Royal Rumble and be done with it. But yeah, that match didn't do anything for me. No, it's again no fault to the ladies, no fault whatsoever. It's just it didn't do anything for me.
I was concerned when she was going to do the splash because I remember when she hurt Rhea Ripley when she came back and re-debuted or reappeared or whatever, and I was just like, oh, please hold on to the rope, don't slip, don't hurt Zoe.
Yeah.
And luckily she didn't, thankfully.
Okay. So we get an Imperium segment, and basically Miz challenges Gunter to a rematch. Created for women suck. Yeah, unfortunately it does. Unfortunately.
Yep.
So Miz wants a rematch, which I don't know how I feel. I mean, their match at Survivor Series was good, but he lost. So a rematch wouldn't make sense here, I guess, so to speak. I still want Chad Gable to get back to be the one to take the IC title, but now that Punk's back, where does Gunter fall in line? You know, I thought it was going to be Gunter versus Rollins. I think that went out the door.
Right. Oh yeah, that's not happening now, at least right now.
True that.
I mean, Miz it was very just kind of like, hey, you kind of beat May last night, but let me try again. Gunter's like, okay, what are you doing here? Because I mean, he didn't even lose to his finisher; he lost to Boston Crab. I mean, Lance Storm, I'm sure, like that, but realistically, in the end, yeah, I agree. Miz being another challenger, I was kind of like, eh. I mean, again, if they're saving Chad Gable for a WrestleMania thing, I get it. I'd be fine with it. But again, it's still going to be, I don't know. I mean, they've been flirting with the whole idea of Gunther versus all these big men. If they have double count out, just have a triple threat at the Rumble. I mean, again, Gunther can win and beat both giant men, and I'd be happy with it because Miz is kind of, I don't know. I always feel Miz is played out after one match. I never want to see him really fight anybody else for a second time. Very rarely do I ever want to see that. But that's me personally.
Yeah. Michael says, I don't want to see another Gunter versus mismatch. No one's asking for it. Gunter versus Rollins should still happen. I ain't kissing Punk's. Okay. Okay. We're all into. Yeah. Wow. I do agree. Gunter versus Rollins should still happen, but it's probably not going to happen anymore. Unless you do Punk Rollins at Royal Rumble. But I don't know. We'll see. Speaking of Rollins, Seth Rollins cuts a promo. He acknowledges a CM Punk chance.
I think him coming out at the beginning was interesting because if you watch when he first comes out, he's not as excited at first. He's kind of just real like, and then he gets into his character. So I thought that was a little subtlety that I thought, okay, surely there's some reason why they're making him so monotone and so just very not as animated at first. Again, it may have just been, it may be nothing, but with WWE, especially with the way they've been very meta and very subtle, I think there's something to the idea that he didn't just come out and start dancing. He actually took a minute to get into it. So the promo was good enough, but
I think Seth Rollins is turning heel, and that feud they're doing little things to give us to start planting the seeds of a Rollins Punk feud, but they're not gonna give us a whole entree, you know?
no, and they shouldn't. I mean, again, let's play it up. Again, I don't mind. See, something things like these I don't mind because if it's going to be for WrestleMania, it'll be a while. But as long as they have something to distract them and it makes sense, that's why I thought maybe Punk was going to appear and interrupt McIntyre, and then you'd have Punk and McIntyre and Rollins versus Jey Uso at Royal Rumble. But they're kind of throwing it next week, and I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, as we found out during this promo, next week it's gonna be Seth Rollins versus Jey Uso for that world. So Drew McIntyre interrupted Seth Rollins here, and he basically wanted a rematch as well. Let me see. If Rollins turns heel when they finally don't have to hear this thing, you don't like singing along? I like singing along.
I don't mind the sing along. I'm over the whole him wearing random weird just stuff. At least for me, because I want that Seth Rollins that's angry now. I want the Seth Rollins that angry back because again, it makes sense. If this leads to Rollins changing his character, not wearing his sunglasses anymore, because if you notice when he takes his sunglasses off, every time he gets serious at that point, that's when you know, okay, it's really serious because he doesn't laugh, he doesn't giggle, he gets serious when his glasses are taken off. So I think that's a subtlety that's not on accident. I think it's purposeful. And I think that's kind of the idea behind it. So I'm hoping we get rid of the wearing random weird, like, what's he going to wear this week? Is he going to wear Sonic boots this week? Is he going to wear, the boots with gunk in them. Who knows? So I kind of agree. I don't mind the singing, but I don't want to have the weird attire anymore. I'm over it.
Let's see,
At least for me.
Rollins versus Drew versus Uso at Rumble is what I do. Okay. Marita looked so pissed when he came out. We all know what happened with him Saturday after War Games match. Yeah, we do. But he got busted open because he headbutted. It looked like he headbutted Rollins,
I
but I
loved
think
it.
he hit the title.
But it added so much more. Something that simple added so much more to the character of him walking in the backstage and saying, "Sammy, it's not the time right now," which is the next segment we got after.
Yes. Sami Zayn confronts McIntyre at the end and basically says that he does understand what he's going through. Because remember, Sami Zayn, because of the bloodline, Sami Zayn also lost in his hometown of
Yep.
Montreal in front of his wife and kids.
Yep.
And it ends up getting Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn next week.
The match will be good. Because we had that match when we were in Dallas, it was pretty good. It was actually a really good match when we went live to the Dallas show. So I mean, I definitely would not be opposed to another rematch. I'll be curious to see how much more heelish McIntyre is. It was kind of weird though with McIntyre that he was able to speak to Rollins and speak to Sami Zayn, kind of just like same angry Drew, even though he was fighting them with the Judgment Day or fighting against them and team with the Judgment Day. So I thought that was a little strange, but it makes sense, I guess, in the long run.
Yeah. All right. So we get a tag team title match. It's Chelsea Green and Piper Niven versus Tegan Nox and Natalya. I thought this was a fun little match. Really happy Chelsea Green and Piper Niven retained just because I do like Chelsea Green. She's one of my favorites. So no surprise that they retained. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If they're gonna lose the tag titles, it's gonna be to the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane.
Although, shout out to Piper Niven for that flip at the end. I was just like blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, perfect flip off the apron. Great. And, really, I just am now noticing, as dumb as it sounds, that I think it's Samantha Irvin's her name. She says Chelsea Green's name so much different. Same with
Yeah,
Ludwig.
she does.
I love it because I just now noticed. I'm like, wait a minute, she says them differently. So I thought that was such a cool way, and always announcing it so good too.
She says Chelsea Green.
Yeah,
That was horrible. Oh my god, I totally butchered that.
all good.
Yeah.
You did better.
So we get a quick Jey Uso and Randy Orton segment. This was something that everybody was looking forward to. And, basically, Randy let Jey know that as long as he's out of the bloodline, they're good and that he'll let bygones be bygones. But I have a feeling, Randy Orton doesn't forget.
You don't trust him.
And, he's going to hit Jey with an RKO one of these days.
We're going to have that sort of RKO thing and just.
Give me 1 second. Sorry. All right. It says, ironic, Sammy was in the bloodline too. Drew got beef with former members. That's true. He does.
Good point.
Really? You don't like it? I mean, I guess, you don't have to be a fan of it, but I like it.
I think that's the idea, though. I think that's the idea that they're purposely making her, say it that way, because it is cringe. It's supposed to be Chelsea Green's character, very just Karen-like and very just whiny and nasally. I think that's the idea of it. Oh, we got a couple that disagree and think it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So next we get Randy Orton versus Dominik Mysterio. And, disappointing, Rhea Ripley did not accompany him. But again, they're holding off on that RKO.
I'm not surprised. I think they're going to save it for, who knows, the Rumble. Maybe next week on Raw. The thing is, you never really know with Randy Orton.
That's true. Like I said, that's the one thing everybody was waiting for.
There is one segment I think that I do want to talk about, and it's a very throwaway segment. But I'm sorry, the R-Truth Jelly Roll Gold segment of him just sitting there eating jelly rolls on Judgment Day's couch. I'm hoping there's more to that. And I love that is like, I'm game, guys. I'm game. Because I think I read online today, somebody's idea, what they should have done for R-Truth returning last night was have him come out as the fifth member running the cage. I'm like, what are you doing here? I'm sorry, guys. My bad. I got to go. His typical R-Truth gimmick. But sorry, just had to throw that in there. I did not like Jelly Roll, the country singer, being involved, though, because it was very random.
I don't even know who he is.
My wife listens to country music, and I was like, Jelly Roll. She was like, I don't know him. I'm like, a song she knows, but we don't know who he is either. And I was like, it just was very random. And shouldn't that be a DQ if he's pushing him in front of the referee? Like, Dominik didn't do nothing to him.
So it's good to see R-Truth back. Yes, definitely.
R-Truth is good for my soul, I have to say. The man is a national treasure. Him and Tozawa are literally going to be there, I think, forever. The day they get released will be a sad day.
All I saw when I saw Jelly Roll was I'm like, whoa. I don't know who he is.
Some
All right,
country
but overall, I didn't think this was a bad match. There was no way Randy Orton was going to lose his first match back.
No.
What did you think of this match?
They did the best they could to make it seem like Randy was imperillable. We all knew Randy was going to fight them off 2-for-1. Now, I really was surprised Cody Rhodes did not come out at the beginning of the show to stop the Judgment Day. I really expected it to be Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes versus Dominik and JD. I thought that would have been better, or Damian Priest or Finn Balor or whoever. So that's why I was very surprised Finn Balor and Damian Priest really didn't have anything to do. I kind of expected it to be Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes versus Damian Priest and Finn Balor. And then you add the idea of, well, wait a minute. Jey Uso won the tag team titles with Cody Rhodes, and now Cody Rhodes has dropped Jey Uso, and now it's going with I don't know. I always thought there was some sort of tension that could be put there. Almost, I don't want to say akin to the MJF, Roderick Strong, Adam Cole thing, but I mean, you could have had a natural story of, well, wait a minute. Jey Uso's not going to be asked to be as part of the tag team match in the main event. You don't need me out there? No, me and Randy got this. It could plant the seeds for, I mean, maybe it's too early for a Jey Uso heel run, but I wouldn't necessarily hate the idea that he's so paranoid that Randy Orton's going to RKO him that he turns heel. I mean, why not? Do something different.
It says Cody was usually watching the burns from his miss. That's true. R-Truth is entertaining. He even made Brock Lesnar a break character. That's true. He did. That's true. He did. But you know what? Overall, I thought tonight's show really WWE should have gone all out the way to make it must see. And there were parts of the show that kind of, dwindled a little bit. So on a scale of 1 to a Sean Spears perfect 10, what would you rank tonight's show?
If I look at it for the tag team turmoil match, can you say that 3 times fast? Tag team turmoil match. I mean, I maybe disagree, but I say a 6. It was not what I wanted. It was not the show I was expecting. It was not the premium live event type of show that Corey Graves promised us at the beginning. The turmoil, great match. Everything else, could have done without. Randy Orton versus Dominik Mysterio is the main event of this must-see Raw. I didn't see it. I didn't get it. I would have much rather had maybe Rollins versus Rhodes and then Nakamura reveals himself as the guy that is going to target Cody Rhodes. That would have been better. So 6, not for me.
Michael gives it a 2 out of 10. Ios says, well, at least Randy should be good. Yeah, Randy should be good.
Good point.
I give it a 7 out of 10. It wasn't too bad. Like I said, there were things I liked, there were things I disliked. So 7 out of 10. I feel like they could have done more, especially because everybody's eyes are going to tonight's Raw. So, but with that being said, that concludes the review. So, Josh, where can people find you?
Just on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now. At Gamer Porosky, as you see below. Most of where you can find me. I mean, you can find Josh Porosky too on Facebook. I'm the only one, so I'm like Tigger that way. The Tiger, I'm the only one. So either Twitter or Facebook.
All right. And as for me, you can follow me at the _. I live tweet on Raw, SmackDown, AEW Dynamite, the AEW pay-per-views, AEW WWE pay-per-views, Impact pay-per-views, Impact Live Plus specials. So I try to do it all. And I was like Power Rangers. So if you want to see some of my stuff, feel free to check it out. Also, too, you can sometimes occasionally find us on the WrestleManiacs podcast over on A Plus Hero Report. We do wrestling predictions and wrestling news. So with that being said, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continued support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever we go live or release a new video. And I will see you guys Wednesday after AEW Dynamite. Bye.